Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Diasporic Nigerian. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is our Nigerian Professionals in Canada series, where we talk to Nigerian professionals all around Canada about all the good things that they're doing. And today we're with Chukky Ibe. Chukky, how are you doing? How's life? Are you excited to be here?
Doug Ford said we can go outside, so we give thanks. A couple days ago, let me even give you this. Just a couple days ago, I just vexed. I bought like $200 worth of kilishi. Not kilishi, $200 worth of suya.
Oh my God.
And, shout out to Crispy African Market in St. Catharines. Big ups to them. And then I bought like 10 bottles of malt. And then I bought like Jack Daniels, I bought a Malbec, and then I bought Barefoot Moscato. And I just invited everybody I knew. And I'm like, bro, it's open. We've been doing this thing for almost 2 years now. Doc
Yeah,
Ford said, if your vax come through. And it was such a good time. So we give thanks.
that's beautiful. I feel like I haven't been in a group of people in too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was living in Ottawa 3 years ago, I think that's the last time I was actually in a group gathering.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah. Like it was like the first 20, 25 minutes. I was like, okay, how do we people? Like, what is this? How does this work? But we figured it out by the end of the day.
figured it out.
It was
Yes.
fantastic. So it got me off really good for the weekend.
That's good. That's good. So we're just going to go ahead and read your bio and get started on the interview. So Chukky is a poet, playwright, and essayist, and his essays explore overlooked and underexamined elements of culture and human societies. His plays try to reconstruct the lives and magic of ancient African peoples, and with his poetry and creative nonfiction, he paints portraits of his childhood memories. He blogs at ibezmako.com and is the editor of Trad magazine. So TRAD is a grassroots educational organization which creates African-centered education experiences. They publish a biweekly ideas magazine on tradmag.ca and creates educational resources for learners, teachers, and community. Welcome to the Diasporic Nigerian.
It's so odd hearing that bio. I'm like, who is that guy? Sounds so
You,
impressive, but I'm
it's
like,
you.
no, not really. I'm just a man down.
So prior to the lockdown that we've been in for so long, where's the last place you traveled to?
I was in Lagos. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, 3 years ago. My goodness. So the summer before the lockdown happened, I was in Lagos. I actually had such a lovely trip. I travel for family. I don't really care about monuments of dead people. Um, so I went to London to see my family. I have aunties and nephews and nieces there. Then I went to Accra for 2 weeks for a development conference, and then I spent the last 2 weeks of my vacation in Lagos. And then I came back to Canada. How's the time? Feels like
Sounds like a time.
yeah, feels like a lifetime ago.
I can't wait to visit home. I feel like well, I haven't gone back since I came to Canada, so I
Right.
really can't wait to go home and see what my childhood home looks like.
Right. Let me tell you this. My parents moved houses. Okay. And I felt like they cheated on me. It just was like, how dare you have an affair with another house? It just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right at all.
Oh my gosh. So tell us about some of the work that you've done either as a poet, a playwright, or an essayist.
So I was involved with the Hamilton Youth Poets. It's an amazing collection of young writers and creators in Hamilton, and I taught there for about 9 years. Was teaching in high schools and elementary schools around the city. Then we competed internationally. We competed nationally, placed fourth in Canada, second in Ontario in group poetry. Been writing with Trad magazine. Recently got published, or will be published by the end of this month at Brittle Paper. It's one of the leading literary journals in the world, really,
Look
that
at you.
focuses on African literature. So I give thanks for them. And one of my plays was actually meant to go live on the 13th of March last year, which was the day that Justin Trudeau shut everything down. Um, so we'll see if it comes back because it's quite exciting. and that moment was quite exciting. So we've been working. It's a really great time to be a writer in this space, a thinker in this space. So much culture is shifting, so much culture is being negotiated and created, and people like often look at the protest, like the protest leaders, the kings and the X's and Asadas, and the role of Baldwin and Morrison and Achebe and Shoinka and a lot of these other writers go unnoticed, but it's them who bears witness, it's them who keeps the record, it's them who help us remember. So I take the craft quite seriously, especially in these moments, to interpret these actions and to crystallize them and help other generations understand them as well.
That's beautiful. I love that. And congrats on getting published. Can't wait to see that and read
Thank
that.
you. Yo, it's such a great essay. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So I'm excited.
That's good. That's good. So it seems like you've performed a lot, like you just said, but what was your first performance like? Was it really great? Were there like hiccups on the way? How was that for you?
My first performance was in GS2 or GS3. It was one of those ones where you have to put on a show in high school. I went to Chrisland School in Idimu in Lagos. I guess I'm right at the outskirts of Lagos. So big ups Chrisland. Um, I was an actor. I played the Babalao. I played the Babalao. It was something about Jesus breaking us free from bondage or something like that. I love the stage. I realized soon though that I love writing for the stage and not necessarily being on the stage. And I love producing. I love the feeling of other people interpreting and acting out my words and embodying my meaning in like new ways. It's such an amazing feeling to see, especially those people who do it well. It's quite brilliant.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I know you talked about one of your essays getting published, but so far, what is your favorite essay?
That I've done forever. Whoa,
Mhm.
that's a big question. I write so many different styles. Well, I'll try to answer the question. I think one of my favorite pieces, especially because of what it did to me personally, was um, it's called when a child wakes up, no, when a person wakes up, that is the person's morning.
Mm,
How young Igbo people are saving their language, and I interviewed about 7 young Igbo creators from Nigeria and the diaspora, both people who are contemporary, but also people who have kind of been in the game for a while, just to get a sense of what's happening in culture and the struggles and opportunities and the opportunities people are creating for themselves. And it really impressed upon me that nothing happens without you making it happen.
mm,
If you want to see something in the world, you have to do it. You have to manifest it. And as I was writing, I was understanding this principle. It was a long piece, like 2,000 words. It was well read for 2,000 words. A lot of people loved it, and it inspired so much action in me. And as a result of that, I've made lifelong friends, and um, the people I interviewed were building something very cool together as well. So look out.
That's really cool. It sounds like you did a lot of work.
Yeah, and another piece that I'm quite excited about is Black Cardinals. It's a piece that I'm working on. It's a survey of the history of Black cardinals in the Catholic Church since like the 17th century.
Interesting.
So yeah, nobody sent me to do this work. I'm just doing it by myself. But yeah, I'm quite excited about that piece. I think there are currently 2 Black cardinals. One is Nigerian, one is African American, at least that I'm aware of, and we're still doing a lot more research.
Oh, this is all interesting to me. I'm here for it. I'm
Yeah.
here for it. So now let's talk about Trad Magazine itself. So why exactly did you decide to start this platform, and how do you combine that with all the other things that you're working on?
Yeah, Trad man was like divine direction. When goal and you just can't sleep until you manifest it. That's really what Trad is. Like there's no way I could do anything if that thing wasn't born, right? It's like carrying a child and refusing the thing to be born, it'll kill you, right? The restlessness will kill you. So um I um I started Trad, I received a command in my spirit to do it. And it was interesting because once that command was received, everything fell into line,
Mhm.
right? And we, we just did it. I have an amazing team. You asked me how I do it. I have such an amazing team that we carry each other, we help each other. It's hard. I won't say that it's not. I work a full-time job. Trad is basically full-time as well. So you have to take the time you have, no days off during weekends, basically. Um, you work at 9 to 5 and then a 5 to 9 during the weekdays. Um, but we give thanks. It's I think the work is speaking for itself in the world. So
Mhm. All right. So, what are some things that you think you've learned about yourself on this journey, either with all the things that you have going on in your personal life or with Trad?
um yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think don't believe the first draft is one thing. It's usually the worst idea. But the first draft has to exist.
Mhm.
And when I mean the first draft, I don't mean just the article, I mean the process as well.
Mhm.
um you might receive a direction, but allow that direction or allow that idea to exist in other people as well, and allow it to incubate in them and share and collaborate. And the idea might have come to you, but it's not yours. You might be able to articulate or crystallize a specific element of it, but the idea isn't yours.
Mhm.
um, so those are some of the things that I've learned through the process. And sleep is good. Take the time to sleep when you need to. It helps everything. And build a good team and trust the people you work with are some of the things I've learned.
Yeah, that trust part right there, because I just had a couple people join the Dice Nigerian team too, and I'm just like, now you gotta trust
Yeah,
people.
no, you trust them. Yeah, no, let them go, let them run with it, and you'll be amazed with what they
Yeah.
come back with it. And trusting other people is also trusting yourself,
Mhm.
right? Because you trust yourself that you pick the right people. Now you have to let go and let them run with it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So I know that at Trad, you're supposed to be doing a bunch of things, but I think in your own words, I want you to explain the different things and different sections of Trad and, tell us what your next plans are with Trad itself.
So there are three things with trad. Um, First is trad. So think about it like what we're building is, think about it like Khan Academy meets TED Talks
Mm.
meets Pixar,
Okay.
right? So we are trying to create a magazine that people can read, get ideas. That's the TED part.
Mhm.
Then we're trying to create kind of world-class educational resources that are accessible, easy to understand, high quality. Our focus is on what we're calling Creole educational experiences. So we're teaching people how to combine ideas from indigenous perspectives, their own indigenous perspectives, and ideas from around the world. And then the next Pixar part is Trad Studios. So our goal is to tell stories, tell fantastic stories, and kind of build the internal capacity to tell stories from around the world, with a focus on African stories, but like we're currently building a story from Somalia. It's called Milkmaid and Pilot. It's a story about two cousins who literally go underwater to rescue their family from a mystical spell in the bottom of the ocean. We're building another story called Yanturaj. Yantura, the Sisterhood. It's a story about three Muslim girls who go on adventures around the world looking for tools to build the most beautiful mosque in the world. Um, so we're creating a couple podcasts. Arena, which comes out in July. It's a sports podcast telling stories around African sports from across time and history, and Independent Review, which comes out in November, which is about colonization, but we're telling stories that complicate our understanding of what colonization was, and telling untold stories, stories that will blow your mind. So we're creating a whole portfolio of high quality education materials, and we're building people. Like we're building strong people who feel confident not just to dream, but also do and make their ideas manifest in the world. Building an amazing community of creators, of curious people, people who look to the past and take that and look to the future, and creating a community that is invested in healing, invested in growth and personal development. And I will just want to also acknowledge on the Ontario Trillium Foundation, who have given us this grant to allow us to do what we do, and Empowerment Squared, our supporter from Hamilton, Ontario, who is basically like a big sibling to us, and they guide us throughout the whole process. So we do big things because we are supported by big people, and we can't exist without those people. So eternally grateful to them.
Wow. This sounds like a lot. And I honestly can't wait to hear those podcasts. I like to listen to things. So I think that's where you're gonna get me fully.
Let's go.
But I'm really excited for all these things that you're doing. And I just want to say thank you for doing this work, because I don't see any other person doing it. And I know it's taken a lot out of you, but this is good work and this is valid. Like, your work is valid.
Thank you. Yours as well, bro. Like, Mary, you've been big sis from time. and seeing your evolutions are it's just incredible. So I'm excited for the next steps as well for you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I know that for TRAD, you have a mentorship program that's going on. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So the TRAD Fellowship is two parts. The first part is a series of high quality workshops with, I call them master classes, with incredible creators, thinkers, cultural workers. And then the second part is a publication fellowship where you work with our community of writers and editors to create and publish your work with TRAD. So those are the two parts. The TRAD, so all the workshops, so all the podcasts I was telling you about, and the stories, all that stuff is created by the TRAD fellows, and it's created because they're able to get training and development in writing, thinking, ideating, indigeneity, like community building, healing, all that stuff. So that's what is possible through TRAD.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So I feel like you have a lot of things going on in your head. I know that you have support, but what does self-development look like to you? And what does self-care also look like to you as you're doing all those things?
Self-development to me, there's a there's a Muslim concept, the concept of jihad, right? The ability to make war, to struggle. And I think about the internal jihad, and this comes with the Muslim tradition as well. The jihad you have to do with yourself, right? The struggle, the constant struggle you do with yourself. There's a story in the Bible where who's it who wrestles with God? I forget his name. Is it Jacob or Joseph or one of them? But this idea of struggling, like wrestling with the angel, right? I think is really what it is. And I know there's this, yeah. So for me, that's what it is, right? It's like confronting yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror and being very aware of your strengths and your limitations, cultivating that self-knowledge. And so to me, that's really what it is. This next season for myself, I think about the classics, and I think about the classic writers and creators and thinkers and philosophers. I think about the Muslim philosophers and scholars in the height of the Islamic medieval time, and you can never find an astronomer who's not a poet, or you can never find a physician who's not a theologian. And there's this deep spirituality that comes with intellectual capacity. The more you know, the more you have to let yourself know that you do not know, and the more you have to surrender to the power of the Most High. So for me, in addition to accumulating knowledge, it is also deep spiritual grounding, and the understanding that self-governance and having a moral compass in something other than yourself is so critical. Because you find the smartest people doing the dumbest shit, right? And you find the people who you're meant to be trusting with a lot of things just like letting you down. So for me, as I try to take this next journey in the season of my life, I am very intentional in spiritual growth, spiritual accountability, but also in building infrastructure that can exist without me. and ensuring that I'm not the center of everything that I do. We're ensuring that we're empowering the team to have local decision making. It's like, hey folks, I can't make this meeting, but I trust you guys, you can do it. Normalizing that kind of language and ensuring like the internal controls are there. So I'm not able to, anybody who's at the center is not able to abuse them. And and we're empowering the team to kind of like exist beyond the founder. So to me, that's what self-development looks like. And that's what self-growth looks like for me as well.
Okay. What about self-care?
Self-care is, to be honest, it's okay. There's a couple things. First of all, though, like we go through seasons of our lives where some things are more prioritized than others. And I've been through my season where I didn't really prioritize self-care because that was just a season of like go 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 go. And the last season for me was a lot of rest. It was a lot of rest. Um, but now I'm entering another season where like we have to build. But I am being a lot more intentional with taking my morning runs, with taking my morning walks, with my meditation, and with my quiet like phone off time.
Mhm.
But I'm tilting the scale a bit more onto the go go go, but also like knowing when the work is coming,
Yeah.
so you can kind of save up your energy ahead of time. I know 3 weeks from now it's gonna be tough, so I'm gonna take it slow right now. So when I get there, I can, I don't feel completely burnt out.
Yeah, that's a very important thing to keep in mind because there's so many times we're just like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do that all the time. And it's just like when it's time to do the big thing, then you don't actually have enough energy to like pull through, and then you're, postponing things, which is not great for the work that
Right.
you're doing for the brand and all of that. So that's an important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So we're almost at the end of this interview. Can you let everyone know where we can find out more about you and your brand?
So if you're looking to find out more about me, the website is ibezimako.com. ibezimako.com. It's the name of my family name. We go by eBay, but ibezimako is the full name. Tradmag.ca is where you find everything trad. You can follow us at trad_magazine on all the social media platforms. We publish once every month. So if you want to catch us, it's best to subscribe to our portal so you know when next is coming, and watch out on everywhere you get your podcast for Arena and Independent Review, our upcoming podcasts. So
We can't wait. We can't wait to see and hear all of those.
thanks.
No problem. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Diasporic Nigerian today. We definitely had a great time getting to learn more about what you do personally and what you do at Trad. And I think the viewers definitely learned a lot as well. So thank you for taking out time to come on here today.
Mary, let me say that you are so special, and let me thank you and your whole team. I remember back in the day, I remember when I was running for student union president at McMaster, like, I remember talking to you and getting advice and all the stuff you did, with the student movement, bro. Like, you're big ups, big
Thank
ups. You're very valued, very appreciated.
you.
And TDN is only in its infancy. So this thing is going to it's already amazing. It's the thing in Canada, and it can only grow. So we give thanks for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us. And thank you all so much for watching. See you on the next episode. Bye.